Welcome. I'm Dr. Ouida McAfee, your Director of Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. And today I want to talk to you about using ChatGPT. And this is part one because we're going to have some more of these sessions because it's really going to be helpful to you. It's going to save you some time. So let's take a look at what we're going to cover. Using ChatGPT AI to, and let me talk about what ChatGPT is. It's a language model. And what it does is when you interact with it, you're interacting with a chat bot. And so you're asking it questions and it's feeding you information. And the more information or more questions you ask it, the smarter it becomes. So using ChatGPT AI to answer student questions, this is going to save you time. Generate discussion prompts. And once you generate those prompts, providing feedback based on the student's response and providing culturally relevant content. So that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, first of all, I want to show you how to get to ChatGPT. You get to it by going to openai.com. That's the current website, and you want to check in frequently because things change. Once you get to, and I'm going to show you physically how to get there, but these are the steps in case you want to take a picture of it with your phone, or in case you just wanted to rewind without the audio. And this will tell you how to get to ChatGPT. OpenAI.com, go to the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the menu, and then you'll select ChatGPT because there are some more AI models that are listed there. So you want to, today we're talking about ChatGPT. So that's what you want to select, ChatGPT, and then you're going to set up your password and login information. And then once it's set up, you can start asking questions. All right, so I said we were going to talk about prompts. We know that specifically when we are in e-learning courses, for example, or online courses, we like to start the students off with an introductory discussion. And so that discussion could be course related. It could be about the student and what they are expecting to learn. So here's an example. I put in this question: generate a discussion prompt on course introduction in art class. That's all I entered into ChatGPT. And so the response that it gave me was, what is your personal definition of art and how do you think it can be expressed through different mediums? In what ways do you hope to explore and expand your understanding of art in this course? I hope that you can see how this will be helpful. And of course, whatever your discussion question is, you want it to match or align with what the outcomes are for that course. So you can take your outcome or your desired outcome or enter your objective and ask it to write a discussion question for you, an introductory discussion question for you for your student. So once you try this ChatGPT out and you use it for a discussion prompt, let me know. Let me know how the students responded. So we're not done with the discussion prompt yet, though. Let's move on to what if the student responded to the question by saying, and this is what I entered into you, where you see OM. That's what I entered into ChatGPT. Here's the student's response. I hope to explore my understanding of art through doing it. And I told it to give me feedback on that student's response. And by it, I mean ChatGPT. Okay, I wanted them to give me feedback. I wanted the chatbot to give me feedback. So look at how detailed this is. This is 3 paragraphs of information. Do you typically give your student that much feedback? Because I'm going to take you back to the slide that said, as a matter of fact, let's just go back there. CCC students want feedback. They like feedback. And we know this because we surveyed our students and we asked them last fall about your courses that are online in Canvas specifically. What is that you like? What is it that you don't like? We like feedback. We don't like when we don't have enough feedback. Okay. So we know that our students want that. And we know that giving students feedback helps with engagement. We always talk about engagement. That's how we engage. We provide students with feedback and we provide them with timely feedback. So let's look at the feedback that the chatbot recommends based on that student's one-line response. The student's response, and so I'm going to say this as if I were writing it to the student, because I'm going to replace the student with your or pronoun. Okay. So your response is concise and straightforward, but lacks detail and specificity. While it's good to have a hands-on approach to learning art, the response doesn't elaborate on how exactly you plan to do art and what specific areas you hope to explore. Okay. It goes on to give an example. The chatbot says, it will be helpful for you to provide more detail about your goals and objectives for the course. For example, you could mention specific mediums you're interested in trying or techniques that you hope to learn. You could also discuss personal motivations for studying art, such as how you hope to apply your skills in the future in your career or in personal pursuits. And then finally, it ends on a good note with the feedback. Overall, while your response is a good starting point, you would benefit from more detail and being more specific to help facilitate a more fruitful discussion of goals and objectives. So this is excellent feedback because you have examples, you have what needs to be addressed and why it needs to be addressed. And do you need to copy this entire response? No. Would you want to change some of the wording? It depends on maybe the level of the course. Maybe you don't want to put specificity. You see what I mean? You may want to say be specific, okay, for the student so that they can have an understanding or better understanding of what it is that you are asking them to do, especially when it comes to discussion, so that they will know that they may not need 3 or 4 syllable words in all of their responses in their discussion, so they can complete their thought. All right. Now let's talk about providing culturally relevant content. Providing culturally relevant content. So for this example, I used math. And so I said, I asked the chatbot, ChatGPT, to create a quiz on algebraic functions using cultural references to Clarksdale, Mississippi. And so what it came up with, and I'm going to make this larger so that you can see it. I'm going to make it a little larger here. All right. Okay. An example it gave, and notice it starts with number 2 because number 1, I didn't think applied. It was just a question, a general question about slope, and I wanted something more specific. So you don't, again, have to use all of the recommendations. And we're going to see if all of their recommendations are even correct in ChatGPT. And the answer to that is no. So you always want to check. You are the subject matter expert, so you always want to check behind ChatGPT, but it's a great place to start. So here's an example of an algebraic function. That's what I asked it for, as it relates to cultural references to Clarksdale, Mississippi. The Delta Blues Museum in Clarksdale, Mississippi charges $7. I'm just trying to make it larger. Charges a $7 admission fee per person plus an additional $3 fee for an audio tour. So write an algebraic expression to represent the total cost in dollars for a group of X people to visit the museum with an audio tour. And then it asks a second question about that. If X equals then, okay. Then it goes on to ask another question. In Clarksdale, Mississippi, the price of a dozen tamales at the famous Hicks tamales is $8. Write an algebraic expression to represent the cost in dollars of buying X dozen of tamales. This is important because again, when we want to engage students, we want to meet them where they are. Talk about things that are culturally relevant in the area where they live. And it will help to bridge the gap of actually applying knowledge. One final one. The famous crossroads where blues legend Robert Johnson allegedly sold his soul to the devil is located at the intersection of highways 61 and 49 in Clarksdale, Mississippi. The equation of highway 61 is y equals 2x minus 3, and the equation of highway 49 is y equals minus x plus 6. What is the x coordinate of the crossroads intersection? So sometimes it may be difficult for us to find ways to include cultural relevance. This is a tool that can help us with that. This is a tool that can help us with that and spark conversation and make us closer to our students and encourage or foster learning. So we've talked about ChatGPT. Now I want to show you what it looks like, okay? So remember when I was telling you earlier how to get to ChatGPT, openai.com. Today, this is what it looks like, all right? And then you go up to menu, and then you'll scroll down to ChatGPT. Now, DALL-E, we won't get into it today, but it can create images and video. All right, but we're just talking about ChatGPT. So once you click on it and get your login set up, then it's gonna look like this. I've already put in some information in preparation for our meeting today. And so I asked it, what is ChatGPT? It tells me it's a language model, right? And then here I asked the question, first I asked it to create me a PowerPoint. And it says, oh, it doesn't do that, okay? It doesn't create the PowerPoint presentations as of yet, but there are some AI models who do. Okay, all right. And then I asked it to tell me, how can college professors use it? And that's where I got our bullet items from today. Answering student questions, generating discussion prompts, writing prompts and feedback, and through personalized learning. We didn't talk about that really, but let's read what it says. Personalized learning. ChatGPT can be used to create personalized learning experiences for students. Professors can input information about each student's learning style, interest, and skill level into ChatGPT, and it can generate personalized learning material and resources that cater to each student's needs. Now that's customized learning. That's customized facilitation. And I'm gonna give you an example of that. I was watching Redefine, J.R. Smith's documentary. And in the documentary, I don't want to be a spoiler alert on it, but yeah, let me give you a spoiler alert. I love it. It's a great documentary. There are a couple of things that he says in there about his learning experiences. And one is that he attended a predominantly white institution where, or high school, where throughout his time in high school, he was in special education. And he's also dyslexic. And so the documentary follows him as a retired NBA player. Someone who's retired, a retired NBA player who's now at North Carolina A&T. And he is pursuing academics in golf there. So if you get a chance, take a look at that. But that is something that maybe we could put in. So let's enter in that question. Let's enter in a question about, I want to create a list of objectives for a student who is dyslexic. And I want to, I think I misspelled dyslexic there. Yeah. I want to say objectives for a student who is dyslexic and is in English composition class in college. Let's see what we come up with. Something went wrong. Okay. I'm going to re-copy it again. I'm just going to say regenerate response. There's an error. Okay. And when this happens, I just ask it another question. You're going to let me ask it a question. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to save and submit it again. So what if I tell it to create a quick reference guide? Let's see. Hold on here. I think it's been hibernating. Okay. What if I told it, let's see, to create a quick reference guide on adjectives for a dyslexic student in college? And you see that it is providing me with that information. Okay. And it's constantly going, it's still going. It's giving examples of different types of adjectives. It's labeling those adjectives. It's telling what order they come in the sentence. Okay, now, if I wanted it to continue, I would say provide more examples of a demonstrative adjective. Sure, here's some more examples. Okay. All right. So it gives you a note about nouns there, specific nouns. I wanted to show you. What it looks like. So, when you first open it. Notice it gives you some examples of what it'll find, and then it talks about the capabilities. It remembers what the user said earlier in the conversation. It allows the user to provide follow-up corrections, and is trained to decline inappropriate requests. And the limitations. It may occasionally generate incorrect information. It may occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content. And it has limited knowledge of world events after 2021. So these are things that are important to note when using ChatGPT. So again, I am Dr. Ouida McAfee. And if you have any questions and you want to spend some time in us talking about ChatGPT and looking at how we can set up objectives, how we can come up with course material, like even assessments, and just looking at different ways to use AI, then by all means, please give me a call, shoot me an email, or come on by. And thank you for attending this webinar.